Hello everyone, welcome to the Wrinkled Genius Podcast. Have you ever climbed into bed after a long day, pulled the covers up and thought, man, I hope I wake up tomorrow? It's one of those fleeting thoughts that pops in after 70, maybe. You laugh it off, maybe it lingers for a second. I know I've had it, and it's not something we talk about much. But a few months back I got a call that shook me. A friend's uncle, 72 years old, went to sleep one night and never opened. His eyes again, healthy guy, no big warning signs, just gone. It hit me hard, and it got me digging into what happened, because after 70, those bedtime hours aren't just about rest. They can be a tipping point we don't see coming. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 bedtime habits you need to avoid after 70. Things that might have played a role in that 72-year-old story, and stuff science says can put us at risk when the lights go out. These aren't complicated traps. They're everyday routines you might not think twice about. Eating late, scrolling your phone, a nightcap to unwind. I'm not here to scare you into staying awake all night. I want you to sleep better, safer, and wake up feeling good for as many mornings as you've got left. So let's sit down together like we're swapping stories over coffee and figure out what to steer clear of before you hit the pillow. Watch until the end, because you might be missing out on little things that could have a huge impact on your future. First up, let's talk about eating a big meal too close to bedtime. I get it. After 70, dinner's sometimes the highlight of the day, especially if you're cooking up something hearty like a roast or a plate of pasta. But chowing down late, say within 2 or 3 hours of sleep, can turn that cozy meal into a quiet troublemaker. Your body's supposed to wind down at night, heart slowing, breathing steady, but a full stomach keeps it working overtime, digesting when it should be resting. Studies, like ones from the American Heart Association, link this to higher risks of heart strain or even acid reflux that messes with your breathing while you sleep. I saw this with my cousin Ed. He was 74, loved his late-night sandwiches. He'd pile on the roast beef, sit back with a grin, then head to bed an hour later. One night he woke up choking on reflux. Scared him silly, and his doctor said it was that heavy meal keeping his system revved up. Could have been worse. Could have stopped his breathing altogether. The fix is simple. Eat earlier, maybe by 6 or 7 p.m., and keep it light if you're peckish later. A banana, a few crackers, nothing that'll sit like a rock. If that 72-year-old had a big supper that night, it might have been one push too many. Your heart deserves a break when you sleep, so give it one. Now let's move to the second habit that's tougher to shake, staying glued to screens right before bed. I'm guilty of this, grabbing my phone to check messages or watch a quick video, thinking it'll wind me down. After 70 though, that glow from your phone, tablet or TV isn't just keeping you up. It's messing with more than you think. That blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, shutting off the melatonin that helps you drift off. Worse, studies, like from the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, say it can spike your heart rate and stress levels even when you're just lying there. Sleep's supposed to be calm, not a workout. My neighbor Ruth, 71, used to scroll news until midnight, said it relaxed her. Then she started waking up tired, heart pounding like she'd run a lap. Her doctor pointed at that screen. She ditched it for a book, and now she's sleeping like a log. That 72-year-old. If he was on his phone late, it might have stirred his system when it needed peace. Try this. Shut off screens an hour before bed. Grab a magazine, listen to some soft tunes. Instead, it's not about giving up fun. It's about letting your brain and body settle so you wake up, not slip away. Eating late and screen time are like silent culprits, habits we lean on without seeing the risk they pile on after 70. They're easy to tweak once you know, and they might just keep your nights safer than you'd guess. Speaking of piling on, let's talk about the third habit, knocking back a drink to help you sleep. With late-night eating and screen time off the table, you're already dodging some sneaky risks that can turn bedtime into trouble after 70. Now, let's talk about the third habit that's tougher to kick than you'd think, knocking back a drink to help you sleep. I know how it goes. End of a long day, you pour a little wine or whiskey thinking it'll ease you into dreamland. I've done it myself, and after 70, it feels like a harmless ritual. But here's the catch. That nightcap might be doing more harm than good, and it could have been a quiet factor for that 72-year-old who didn't wake up. The thing is, alcohol doesn't really help you sleep. It knocks you out fast, sure, but it messes with the deep rest your body needs. Studies, like ones from the National Institute on Aging, show it relaxes your throat muscles too much, which can make breathing shaky, especially if you've got a little snoring going on. That's when things like sleep apnea sneak in. Short, pauses in breathing that stress your heart and brain overnight. My Uncle Joe, 76, used to swear by his evening scotch until his wife noticed he'd stopped breathing for seconds at a time. Doctor said it was that drink making it worse, and cutting it out turned his nights around. It's not just the big risks. Even a small glass can leave you groggy instead of refreshed, and after 70, your body doesn't bounce back like it used. 2. That 72-year-old might have had a sip too close to bed, tipping the scales when he couldn't afford it. You don't have to go cold turkey. Try swapping it for something warm and booze-free, like herbal tea or milk with a pinch of cinnamon. I started doing that. Chamomile's my go-to now, and I'm out like a light without the fuzz. Give your heart and lungs a break at night. They'll thank you with every morning you get. Now, let's shift to the fourth habit, and this one's a bit sneaky because it's easy to shrug off, ignoring how you breathe at night. After 70, we don't always notice the little hitches. Maybe you snore louder than you used to, or wake up gasping like you've run a lap. It's tempting to think, oh, that's just age. But those breathing quirks can be a warning sign, and they're tied to stories like that 72-year-old's. If your airway's struggling while you sleep, it's not just annoying, it's a strain on your whole system, and science says it's a risk we can't ignore. Sleep apnea's the big one here, when your breathing stops and starts, sometimes dozens of times a night. Research, like from the Journal of the American Medical Association, links it to higher chances of heart trouble or worse, especially after 70, when your body's less forgiving. My friend Clara, 73, didn't think much of her snoring. Her husband teased her about it for years. Then she started waking up tired, head pounding, and a sleep test showed she was barely breathing half the night. That 72-year-old, if he'd had untreated apnea, it could have been the silent push that took him. You don't need to guess at this. Listen to yourself or ask someone close. Do you snore like a freight train? Wake up choking? Feel wiped out even after 8 hours? If it's ringing bells, talk to a doctor. They might suggest a sleep study or a simple fix like a mouthpiece. Clara got a little breathing machine, CPAP they call it, and says it's like night and day. She's got energy she hasn't felt in years. Even small tweaks help. Sleep on your side, prop your head up a bit with an extra pillow. I started side sleeping after my wife complained, and I'm waking up sharper. It's about keeping the air flowing so your nights stay safe, not shaky. Ditching that nightcap and tuning into your breathing are like flipping the script on bedtime. They take habits you might lean on and turn them into chances to rest easier. They're not hard to spot once you're looking, and they might have been the difference for that 72-year-old if he'd known. You've got the power to sidestep these risks, and it's simpler than you'd think. Little changes that keep your sleep a haven, not a hazard. And that brings us to wrapping this up with what it all means for you. Now that you're steering clear of late meals, screen glow, and that sneaky nightcap, you're already lightening the load on your nights after 70. We started digging into that fourth habit, ignoring how you breathe at night, and its worth sticking with because it's a big one. That 72-year-old who didn't wake up might have had a warning in his snores or a gasp he brushed off. And after 70, those little breathing hiccups aren't just quirks. They can be the difference between resting easy and rolling the dice. It's not about obsessing. It's about listening to what your body's saying when the lights go out. Think about it. Do you ever wake up feeling like you've barely slept, even after hours in bed? Maybe your partner's nudged you about snoring that's gotten louder, or you've caught yourself holding your breath in that hazy space before you're fully awake. That's where sleep apnea or other breathing troubles can sneak in, and science doesn't mess around with this. Studies show it's tied to heart strain, oxygen dips, even sudden risks that hit harder after 70. My buddy Tom, 75, ignored his wife's complaints about his snoring for years. Thought it was funny until he woke up one night gasping, heart racing like a drum. Doctor said it was apnea, and it could have taken him out if he'd let it slide longer. You don't have to play detective alone. Simple clues can tip you off. If you're tired all the time, waking up with a dry mouth or feeling foggy no matter how long you sleep, it's worth a look. Talk to a doctor. They might suggest a sleep study or at least some tricks to keep your airway open. Tom got one of those CPAP machines, and he's a new man. Says he hasn't felt this rested since his 60s. Even without gadgets, small moves help. Sleep on your side instead of your back, prop your head up with a thicker pillow, or drop a few pounds if you can. I've been side sleeping lately and it's cut my own snoring. My wife's thrilled and I'm waking up clearer. That 72-year-old might have missed this chance, but you don't have to. It's a sign you can catch and fix. Avoiding these 4 habits, late eating, screens, booze, and breathing trouble, is like clearing the path for nights that recharge you, not rob you. That 72-year-old story stuck with me because it's a wake-up call. None of us know when our last night's coming, but we can make sure the ones we've got are safer, stronger. You're not powerless here. Ditch that heavy supper for an early bite, swap your phone for a book, trade the whiskey for tea, and pay attention to your breath. They're little shifts, but they stack up to keep your heart ticking and your mornings coming. I've seen it work. My Aunt Marie, 78, used to do all 4 of these. She'd eat late, scroll her tablet, sip wine, and snore like a bear. After a scare, waking up choking, she turned it around. Dinner's at 6 now. She reads mysteries, drinks chamomile, and sleeps with a pillow wedge. She's sharper, happier, and says she's not going anywhere soon. You can do this too. Start with 1, like cutting screens tonight, and build from there. It's not about fear. It's about giving yourself the best shot at more good days, whether it's with grandkids, your garden, or just a quiet cup of coffee. These habits aren't rare. I bet you've caught yourself in at least one, right? I know I have. They creep in easy after 70, but they're just as easy to nudge out once you see them. That 72-year-old didn't get the memo, but you're here, and that's what matters. You've got the reins. Tweak your bedtime, talk to a doctor if something's off, and sleep with peace, not peril. Every night you dodge these is a win, and every morning you wake up is proof you're still in the game. What's one habit you're ready to ditch? Or maybe one you've already kicked? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what's working for you. And if this has lit a little fire under you, give it a like and hit subscribe so we can keep this going together. You're not just sleeping, you're living, and I'm cheering you on for every night you make safer and every day you get to enjoy. Here's to waking up strong, no matter how many years we've got. See you soon.